agenda and the topics that we have. Would you like to make a short intro? We have Nathan, who's joining and who's going to help to get all of it together, and Letty from TE Philosophy, and Dan has also joined today. So if you just say hi and a bit to yourself, that that the others also get to know.
Yeah, my name is Nathan, and recent member of the TEC, just getting involved. Come from a bit of a diverse academic background, geology, public administration, political science, microscopy, and I found my way here, and I'm really enjoying it. I'm very interested in problems associated with collective action and getting technology into the hands of people who actually need it. So, yeah. It's nice to meet everybody.
Cool. Welcome.
So hello, my name is Letty. I'm happy to be here as well. I really like to be called a philosopher in this group. Maybe that's the label we have to just hold here. But as Nathan says, I also have a very diverse background, mainly in law, political science as well. But I've been very interested in all the blockchain, Ethereum space from the very beginning, and right now, very interested in this kind of new models and new things that we can create in this space. So that's mainly why I'm here. Or maybe because I share your issues, maybe with this token blockchain crypto world. So I guess I'm here because of that, mainly.
Oh, shall I go?
You
just
thank you for joining.
You just reminded me that I was such.
So Dan, you're here the first time.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Or the second time.
Oh, okay. You just reminded me that I was a terrible pain in the ass to my philosophy teacher back in school ages ago, and I got her fired, and I taught a class after her because I was so against Plato and Descartes, Descartes, I guess. Anyway, and I was really niche when I was, I don't know, 11, earlier, I guess. And I was like, oh my God, this is the thing you guys need to know. Anyway, I'm rambling, but otherwise, Daniel, I'm with Commons Stack. I'm based in Latin America and in Caracas. I'm Venezuelan. I'm very engaged in the political, technical worlds. I'm part of Singularity University for so many years now, big corporations. So I'm in many different networks, and I try to find the synapse between them. Anyway, and I'm rambling again. I'm just having my breakfast, so I'm distracted. But I'll pass it back to you.
Enjoy.
Gracias.
Yeah. Okay, so basically, maybe also, I don't know if you know Livia and Tammy and Septimus as well. They are community stewards and leading working groups, SoftGov, Transparency, and the community stewards working group where all of this gets connected. And basically, with this, and my background is computer science, and to get with the philosophical roots, it's only started last October when we were really talking and meaning ethical engineering. And basically, let me share. We went. I went looking the other. Basically, went looking the other area, the other side of this cryptoeconomics flower, and philosophy, law, ethics. That actually should be our, in the seed of the token engineering ethos, because that is what we are saying. What token engineering commons should, nurture, foster. That we are coming from ethical engineering place. But I can tell you, as a software engineer, this is not what you learn. as part of your training, etc. So, and also with AI, ethical AI, the recent awareness, you hear or you might have heard that it really is an issue in the technology space at large. That, and especially for us as potentially initial algorithmic policy makers, that we just need to get the handle on this transdisciplinary field, that we are really working with many disciplines together, that developers, techies, working really with people from law, political science, and but mostly I really want able to reach out to the people who are like, oh, we don't have time for this, I need to get the smart contracts audited and deployed, and I need to fight off the dark side hackers, etc. That we find a place for them to actually make time, and we also find basically what are their needs, where are they at the moment, how far away in their reality from that type of ethical engineering that we want to really embed in the seed of the public goods also that we're creating. So, and as said, since this is a new, for me at the very least, a relatively new topic, which we got really great feedback input from Fabian Buda. But I just, I'm super happy with more people coming in and helping us to shape that information, that it's accessible to token engineers, that is practical for token engineers, and at the same time, just trying to shape that information, and at the same time, or through the community survey, right, through formulating those questions. And yes, so let me get back to, and Letty, please don't hesitate to ask, or anyone else, if you want to add something, don't hesitate. I just want us to get on the one page, and I'm super curious about basically everyone's feedback on are we doing this right? Are we getting to the core, and are we basically asking questions that will also be practical, or the answers will also be practical and relevant to what Token Engineering Commons is currently doing with the hatching and getting proposals, etc. Good. So if are there any things that you want to ask, Ed?
Yes, because you replied to me some comments I made from the very beginning, like going back to like the preliminary things we were talking about, like why are we choosing these questions? I think I got some questions replied, like this is one of the few, a lot, or like million models we can choose to reflect reality. And I think the efforts of this group is like to try to put that content into a practical or an experimental knowledge to then be processed and be applied to the engineering world. I like to say like the engineering world, because if as you say, it's something bigger than maybe token engineering, but I know it's like we need like maybe in a scope that is not that big to start things going, right? And I think like it's something that we can use, but still with having these models in mind.
Yeah, and I have an idea. I would like to come back towards the end of this session, namely, like this community survey is the first outreach, and maybe even just an awareness and getting feedback really from the token engineering community. But we're planning a workshop or workshops on this topic, and for example, if you're interested to shape this and get this into really a practical format, which could be in a dialogue or a session with token engineers, we could have that as a format where, you know, I'd be super happy to work this together, or if you just say whatever time and effort you want to put in. Basically, even just feedback is super important. So just mentioning it, that you don't lose interest while we're going maybe through the current question collection for the community survey. That's one point. But we definitely also have this workshop planned. So I have one update that was quite fast. So from Felix, he really wanted to you know, scope depending on how big these insights are that we have, and how, you know, depending on the participants in this working group, what we really can offer as a working group to the community, a workshop, a maybe coaching of around these ethical engineering questions, etc. Could be these type of offers. He said that we could also have a token engineering commons gathering at this crypto commons event that is in June or July. But he just mentioned to me that he might not be able to focus on that. So the workshop or the event is happening, but we might not have Felix on board because he has some other things that came up. So I don't know, Livia, did you and Jess had a time at all to get in contact with Felix yet before?
Yeah, we talked briefly about it. I think that's a really cool idea that we feel passionate about, and I think we could get together soon to organize it. But I feel like so many things are happening now that this got a little bit off the priorities. But we just need to bring it in the, you know,
It's not
a bigger
okay.
effort to put maybe in the next sprint, and then we can design something, because it's going to be in July, right? And end of June or July.
Yeah,
I feel like maybe if we had 2 weeks
we have more
to
time
think about it
that.
before it happens, but then to talk to him in a sense that, yeah, it will happen, and then a little bit later we just discuss the structure.
Okay, cool. So basically, we do have the time anyways, and if we say, yeah, we would really like to have that, then basically the ones in this working group who are interested in actually putting workshop topics out there, you know, basically we could put the effort already in parallel, and then basically sync, I don't know, maybe in end of May, June, right, to say, okay, these are the workshop topics we would like to do. We have worked them out, and coordinate, right? So one workshop topic I think everyone is excited about is invisible economy, basically incentive mechanism design to actually protect creative spaces when we know where extrinsic rewards are actually harmful. So that is that is definitely going to happen as a topic. The others were just in there for reference, and as said, Letizia, if you want to, you know, you don't have to decide now, but if you're like, that was interesting, and we could basically really check these questions or this fundamental assumptions and worldviews, and how to put that in a practical format. for token engineers to actually, for them to apply that maybe new mental models that they need for assessing in what situations they, they need to have their ethical mode of reasoning or ethical thinking cap on. But I guess it's going to be, some effort to get there. But again, if we did put these things together, these topics together, I think it would be a really good and interesting workshop. And again, I think the ethical engineering sides, if you are interested in that, will not just be applicable to token engineering, but of course, if you are roaming in other communities, in other tech communities, I'm sure those insights we gain here are also interesting to other tech communities. Good. So workshop scope. So first of all, we say yes, workshop and Crypto Commons is super interesting. We're going for it. And basically, the members, the active members here in Working Group Omega are highly encouraged to shape topics that revolve around the ethos of token engineering, of ethical engineering, of incentive mechanism design, but at the same time taking care of that it's not just mechanistic systems that we're engineering, but socioeconomic systems, big human factors in there. Okay, good, and we have time. So now we can get to the questions. Are there any questions, or does anyone want to add to workshop topics, for example? If not, I'd like us to go through the questions that we have gathered, and maybe even if you have if you were able to prepare some more, that we just edit them together here. Good. So basically, we have this collection of all questions that we have gathered. So we know we have actually pretty practical questions. I think we just need to write them down. Then we had these questions about mindset and at least bringing awareness. For example, about do you know the domain and culture in those economies in which you are basically engineering a token economy, for example. And then, as I mentioned, the more philosophical questions, and potentially, I believe, like, these could be as teaser, I think, and the comments that Letizia did here were actually super helpful, and also, super helpful. 1 second. So as community survey, and it's basically more about about their views. So how did all of this start? What was the big bang of token engineering? Every one of us, I think, have different starting points why they are driven to this, and it would be great to get those questions. Some are, again, actually, how did you get in contact? Are you active at all? When did you hear the first time about token engineering, etc.? And then which backgrounds they come from. But then also whether they're currently actively researching or practicing token engineering, their roles, etc. And there's one aspect, I assume, or like this is super fundamental actually, like who said what token engineering is, and how are we currently basically co-creating this knowledge. We're where do we get our information from? How do we make sense of those economies that we're engineering? And we know that we have many different tools or sources of information. And again, if you think of every one of us as rather T-shaped, meaning we are interested and we are acknowledging all of these disciplines that make up crypto economics, but we are only knowledgeable maybe in one or at most in two of those, right? And yeah, we have some polymaths for sure. But it is super interesting to actually ask yourself that question, like, how do I form these insights? Why did I buy in, for example?
Shannon, can you post this? Sorry, can you put this document in the agenda, or is it there somewhere?
Yeah, it is there, but
it's at the very bottom.
1 second. Are you here?
So
okay. It's yeah.
Thank
it's
you.
These questions here. You're welcome. Okay. Yes. So I would say, yeah, like the questions that we have, it would be good that if every one of you really went through them and just gave feedback, like maybe prioritization to say, okay, this is really interesting question. Not bothering about whether it's a philosophical or not, whatever your concerns are or your interests are, why you are interested in the community survey, that you basically help us rank or help us curate through these questions. And then, yes, if you can add, for example, questions that help us to learn more about their environments as well, in which they are active. I think we could have add here some more, and then really any practical questions where you say, if I only knew what these token engineers think about that, please do edit here. Yeah. And then I would just like to discuss this part. So basically, when we have all of the questions and everyone had a look and maybe helped us really curate, in a sense, like these are interesting questions, or add more interesting questions, please. Then we should basically sort through them, and this is one suggestion based on our discussions in the Token Engineering Philosophy channel with Letizia Dogedas and others. There was someone else in notes, so I'm sorry, I forgot the name. But basically that you can have a look at the questions, but they're nicely sortable about, what is, as a token engineer or someone who suspect themselves doing things related to token engineering, like what are their really perceptions of what is token engineering, and their range could be from imagine someone like Zargam answering this versus someone like Andrzej Kronje answering this, right? They both are active in this, and Andrzej is a software engineer, a really good one, but potentially, doesn't even see themselves as active or as token engineers, or could not even say what is token engineer anyway. So that type of range we're expecting. Then this objective observation, again, it will very much likely depend on whether they're new to the token engineering community, whether they've been there since the beginning, and there might be really observations like they became a long way to hey, this is utter chaos, super exciting, but it's really too much to take in, right? So that type of questions. Then about the perceived culture, values, meaning of token engineering. I'm thinking like this is really, these questions won't be the ones one can lead up with. Especially like these leading or these initial 1 and 2 question areas could really help them to actually get into the mood of at all, thinking more deeply about token engineering, and then maybe they will be able to share some insights of theirs. What does that really entail to be a token engineer, even if they don't perceive themselves as being a token engineer active, but what would they think of a token engineer? What should be the culture values? Again, there could be, the range will be potentially huge, and it would be also super cool to really have even answers from people who are not very active or really contributing in token engineering, but still they perceive this culture. So these are basically more or less the hypothesis we're putting in. And then about the environment, projects, token engineers, in which the token engineers are involved in. Yes. And then basically one area, like what, yes, or we should rather say not products and services, but public goods that they would like to see to have in this space as a token engineer. What would be helpful resources for them? Does it really how do you call it, educational materials? Is it a place? Is it standards, for example? Are they really waiting for any token engineering standards to appear, and then they will be interested in actually joining and using or also contributing? And then two rather generic questions I thought are practical and important is basically the token engineering commons, like this whole setup. How can that setup support them, be it with funding, but also with maintenance and sharing of knowledge, products and services, if you will. And then also basically where can they see themselves as supporting the token engineering commons? Okay, one comment, and then basically I'd like to have anything that is on your mind. So I guess these two question areas are the practical questions side, and maybe we should lead with those. And basically this one about the ethos could be the last part. So this basically is it. I know Michael is trying to give feedback as much, but yeah, I am also happy to have sit down in one-on-one sessions if someone wants to work out through questions or good.
I just added a question, but I think I did in the wrong document. I put in 4 fundamental assumptions, but that's not the one, right? I just saw your screen.
Okay.
Let me get in there.
Shall I just copy it? What is value? Okay, you go deep on the philosophical questions. Okay. Yeah. Do you have the one?
I'm trying to find it here.
Sorry. Let me share again. Copy. If you're here, this is the link. Do we have a chat here? No.
We can put in the Omega working group chat.
Yeah. Here we are. Okay. Here.
Thank you.
These are the survey questions. Yes. Oh, okay. Yeah. As you see below are some more questions from Michael that need sorting. So I'm happy to sort through any questions and then comments you bring in, or and also we can do this basically. How is I acknowledge verbal? Super cool.
Shabnam, if I can jump for a second. No, I'm
Hi,
reading
Mika.
through the docs. Hi, hi. I've been lurking around and just like listening a little bit because I need to do some other stuff. So I've been trying to do sense making, and you mentioned I have like some questions, but it's more like comments and just thinking out loud. There were 2 bits that really caught my attention, and I was wondering why. One of them was around workshops, right? So it's like, do we need workshops? Are people asking for workshops? And like how many people will be there, and so on. And the other one is when we think about designing the survey, of course, there are a lot of questions, and when there are a lot of questions, people start wondering if they are willing to invest the time into answering. So again, kind of pragmatic question is, how many people are we going to survey? Like how many people do we need to survey, who we need to survey, and so on. But overall, kind of again thinking out loud, I'm wondering how we can get to the point of having less questions about stuff and more, let's say, like decisions and answers to some of our questions. So basically, how to make it more tactical rather than strategic. And I don't have like specific answers, just again sharing out loud what's passing through my brain.
Okay. Agreed. So, and I think Livia made this comment last time that we can have a, please, if you don't do anything else, just give us these 3 questions, that there are basically a 3 basically we really want to get to know you type. And as said, I would, but open to suggestions, really. I would nominate like the information about their environments, because these are things people can actually quickly answer, right? Like, am I active in a token? Am I currently designing a token economy? And if so, like, how does it look? Again, there are some questions we gathered. And then outcome focused, meaning, this is a token engineering commons. We are creating public goods or funding and want to maintain public goods for and by token engineers. where can we support you? Where can you support us? Like these would be the minimal questions of, I think, really practical to know for them about token engineering commons, and for us, who are the token engineering community members and potential members, right? And then we can basically have these, let me just, that we say, okay, these are, let's have these questions, and then we can basically ask questions that are, if they are up to. I don't know, like, what do you think? A community survey, maximum 15 questions. Is this too much ask?
I'll go for less than 50 questions. Maybe I'm trying to rephrase up my sample survey knowledge. I think if it's more than 30 or 40 questions, people are going to be a little bit maybe disappointed about this. But maybe you have like 5 questions at the beginning that are only yes or no. Are you involved in this? So those are, like you say, the questions to get to know the people that are very quick to answer, like where are you, or maybe 4 options. And then maybe trying to follow this model, like you have 30 or 40, maybe these 5 getting to know the person, and then you have 10 about what is your specific work inside the community, just going for the very, very close in the community towards the models at the end, maybe just to construct, building up the questions on that front. And then you get to the maybe the philosophical questions. You have options, and those options depend on our model, because we are doing the survey. So it's like we are just having this input in the survey. So maybe this 10, and then you have like the ones you are saying about the outcome, like what do you want to help us with, or how can we help you? Maybe those are comments, so are open, like input from the person. They are actually writing. It's not a question, but an open-ended comment or something like that.
Yeah. Okay.
I just want to hop in as well. I think that having the community survey is very important in trying to inform how we approach the Omega working group and how we integrate it into the rest of the TEC working groups. I think it can be very informative. I do think a comprehensive survey could be used as like a requirement during the application process for particular projects who are wanting funding proposals. Trying to get to understand like what they have to engage with on a daily basis, and understand like the ethical concerns that they have when building their project, and trying to keep this kind of information exchange back and forth as constant as possible. But outside of that, I also see educating community members about the findings that we do have is going to be the most valuable thing that we can create from this group, in terms of creating kind of this social mutual monitoring across working groups, and saying, hey, we have enough people who understand these ethical issues, we have enough people who understand what we're trying to accomplish, and we're having them looking over the shoulder of the people that are building these products and these engineering
those will be like the bridging questions, maybe that you can like connect those, well, like what the community is looking to bridge with other communities, like the token engineers with the engineering world. And those questions, maybe as Nathan is saying, is like providing the outlook for us to get to know what are we looking for. So like kind of informing the work forward, and trying to get the community to know at what point are what they need to be informed about. It's like a double-edged connection or flow between us and them to us, maybe.
So that is something also, I think, Michael, you also brought multiple times, bridging to the disciplines. Like they're not already in token engineering, but they come from 1 or 2 disciplines, and so you said bridging questions, right?
Yes, like meaning, do you think your work is involved with? Yeah, like do you think your work has like implications for the the AI space or something like open and then just trying to read more specific. I think it's done in this way, like something open for you to get the people to think about it, and then providing another question that is more specific, like, do you think this has implications with policies about technology, something? Do you think your work is impacting?
Yeah, I think it would be nice to have the list of questions we want to ask, and then from them see which are the ones that are fundamental, that are like, that will give us a lot of information just from them, and then put most of them as optional. And actually, this is the perfect setup for a workshop, because it's really hard for people to answer philosophical questions in a like, oh, let me stop between one call and another and jump into this like super deep space. But if we have a workshop that is a space where people are like physically together, maybe we can see how to involve like a digital workshop, then we create the environment to get deep, and then maybe we go for those other questions in a set space.
Okay, basically you're saying we could have a, maybe not even a teaser, but just have an awareness question or so, and then basically ask or indicate, ask whether they would be interested in learning more about ethical token engineering, basically. And if we get enough, how do you call it? If we get enough answers and engagement, especially asking for such content, then that would be one workshop item, basically.
Just like a follow-up, like if you are into this.
Yeah. Okay, basically, yeah, gotcha. Cool. So, with respect to the art of surveying, does any one of you have actually experience there? Like, I've heard that it does make a difference even with what questions you start and so on and so forth. And in order to be able to, or even like, do we need to be that scientifically appropriate, or is it for us a first, deeper running contact?
That's a very philosophical question.
Yeah, I mean, if we could embed this really as, actually, if we have more areas where we could ask for a survey, especially like when they're entering the forum, etc., or when they're creating a proposal, as Nathan just said, maybe that's also an opportunity for us improving our survey skills before over engineering this one initial outreach.
Sheldon, I can drop a few insights. Now, yeah, it's a philosophical question in a way when it comes to how to build those things, because then it also depends what you want to learn from the survey. Pragmatic things, yeah, normally if you get more than 10 or 15 questions or even like less than that, you have massive drop off. In most cases that I saw, if you get to 40% or 60% completion rate out of a large group, that's a massive success already. In most cases, it's probably around 20%. So any kind of like incentive schemes that you can figure out will be probably really worthwhile. One thing that comes to my mind that we tried to experiment with in a different community was doing those kind of like parties where you would basically fill in the survey. So in that sense, maybe carving out 5 minutes from some of the token engineering meetings or workshops for doing those surveys is a way to get more completion. Now, when it comes to processing and user, again, it goes back to what kind of insights you want. Some open-ended questions might give you much better insights and maybe more creative insights than closed-ended questions. And why? One of the exercises that I really like doing workshops is tweet from the future. So you could ask, like what would be a massive disaster of, token engineering in 10 years, or what would be a massive success from token engineering in, let's say, 5 years from technical point of view, but a complete failure on ethical part, right? So then you can get some interesting insights how people think, but it's difficult to process and aggregate and then communicate. So in those cases, if you want to, let's say, analyze the results quantitatively and produce diagrams, it's much better to have closed-ended questions and just allow people to pick some of the options and go with standard scales or radio buttons and stuff like that.
Okay. Can I get back to you when we get it more? Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I guess there's a bit of lag on my side. I really like all the things that Michel, is that how I pronounce your name? Or is it Michael?
I usually go with Michael, but yeah, the closest one would be Michał, like Michał.
Michal, okay. So I'd like to just add to what Michal said. I think they're great ideas. I think the incentive will help drive the completion, and it can be something like a raffle. So if you fill out the survey, you enter a chance to win a prize. The prize could be something cool from the TEC community, whether it's a t-shirt or possibly the Trend du jour, which is an NFT, just something to help incentivize people to complete the surveys so that they're entered into the raffle from the incentive angle. And from the open closed-ended, I think here the key is the reason, this is not a physical, tangible incentive, but you're helping the community. Like this is we're doing this for the community. So if you have a really good reason to take that 15 or 20 minutes and sit down and finish the survey, a really compelling reason, I think that's the other thing that can drive people to take the survey and complete it. Yeah. And open and closed-ended questions. Yeah. Again, as Michael said, it's really compelling. A lot of people do like to explain what they want to say with open-ended questions, but probably the vast majority of people just want to click a button. So it is a delicate balance between those two.
I think also, Shabnam, do you remember that first survey we did?
Yeah.
Sorry, I think there is a little bit of lag.
From that?
Yeah, I will share my screen quickly. So remember we did the survey in the beginning, and it was like 6 questions, and they were somehow open-ended, and we had like a range of how detailed or how short the answers were. So maybe we could do, and we did this for the TEC, maybe we could do something similar for TE.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and maybe one more thing.
Share, or can you link that?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Michał.
Sorry, I was not sure if I was unmuted or not, getting a bit confused with the UI. One other thing about questions, I mean, sometimes you can ask obvious or leading questions. So let's say we might want to have more diversity in the group. So if we ask, it's like, should we have more women engineers? People will, of course, say yes. Or like, should we have Black engineers? I mean, yes. Should we have, like younger and older engineers? The answer is yes. But the question is, like how that would work in reality, right? So asking some of the questions can give you leading answers. So it's a little bit of an art how to get basically reliable representative results.
Okay, that's what I wanted to add. So, for example, because you really have a thing for surveys and data, it would be great, like if you, at the very least, at the end, and they're not going to be many questions, as you said. So if you can go through them and actually really try to make it round, that okay, this should be radio button questions, or let's reformulate that as radio button, and let's formulate that as open end. That would be super valuable. Do we think that we can get these questions into a form this week, or maybe until next Wednesday? You think, and then you can think about it out loud. And then here I have. So we would have some outreach channels, like the current kernel program of Gitcoin. I want to ask them, for example, if they can share as well. This is where basically we would reach more people who may be interested in token engineering but not there yet. And then basically our own channels. If I just put in tech here and ask other community stewards, I think we'll be fine, right? Or should we look out for more channels or for more groups where we can send it out?
No, that's interesting. I wanted to ask you a question actually about the channels. I had a friend that I told him a little bit about the perspective of the intrinsic motivations of this group, and he's actually one of the leading DevRel guys from Consensus Ethereum Foundation. So we had an ecosystem grow meeting yesterday with a bunch of folks basically, but they kind of want to tap into this space as well. So just curious about what will be the best moment or best meeting to bring one of them over here, and they had a huge database of developers, but it's maybe too big, because it's so diverse. It's not everybody is like a token engineer, a polymath. It's like a bunch of developers all over the world. So that's one question.
Yeah, but it's, I think it is valuable. So what I'm interested in is to get a feel like how many people we reach really as Web3 wide as possible. And even if you, for example, your backgrounds are law, political science, if you say, hey, actually, I do have people who might be interested in the bubbles of one discipline, right? Even that would be interesting to really reach out. And then basically how many people potentially, and how many people come back, and whether there are one or two from those areas as well would be super interesting to see. Or is token engineering really our little our little village?
Yeah, and if you want to do something in kernel, I'm happy to support you in there as well. I know we had Gret and Sean and Tanner and other people from the community. And something else I'm thinking in terms of the incentives, I guess you guys had seen the POAPs, the proof of attendance protocol. You can actually give one of these tokens and they can be used as a governance tool. So people that had a specific POAP, they can vote on some things. So that's more related on, the results of the survey. Are they going to be used in some way? I don't know. That could eventually be like there could be some governance applied to them. I don't know. I don't know if you guys had seen that POAP application on voting. I can send it on the text channel, but it's cool anyway. It's there. yeah,
Mhm,
just
mhm.
immediate.
Oh, please. Yeah. Yeah, fantastic. So, and this was the Ethereum Foundation or consensus, possibly?
It's
Did I
mostly
get that right?
consensus,
That
but
you might be able to.
there's
Yeah.
there's both. I mean, we meet once a month. They're very interested in growing Ethereum in Latin America, so the DevCon in Colombia. And
Okay.
Austin Griffith is doing like a
Mhm.
mapping of the whole ecosystem, kind of the flows of people entering into
Yeah.
Ethereum and learning. So yeah, I can tap
Mhm.
into both. Happy
Cool.
to.
Cool. Cool. Okay.
Just one.
Thanks a lot,
I
everyone.
know we're on the top of the hour.
Yeah.
Just want to say something quick about this. I would be interesting to hear these questions from people that are working in the field of token engineering, because I feel like sometimes the confusion comes exactly from this, that there are multiple opinions sometimes from like, I don't know everyone that is working in the field of token engineering and what do they think and where are
Mhm.
they and what are they doing and how are they doing. So
Mhm.
maybe like the
Yeah.
first cohort of reaching out to people could be, yeah, like data scientists and system designers and that
Okay.
are involved
Okay.
in projects that are using like the tools that we mentioned as token engineering tools.
Mhm. Mhm. Okay. Okay. But tools. But what about these? The non-engineering side of things. I have a feeling that yeah, I'm really curious, like where to reach actually. There's some like this operations research, etc. I don't think we have them yet, and we should have them. For example, I don't know, Letizia, your background. Like, are you active in the token engineering or token project, for example, just to get a feel?
Yeah, I'm more in the side of advising and counseling the projects and reading the white papers. And I've been involved in protocols, but I'm more in, let's say, like, yes, like legal and the tokenomics. Yeah, so
exactly. So that's what I'm also,
yeah,
like
it's what
just
I'm noting, that
let's
the
say
analyzing of the
hypothesis.
results.
Yeah, so mostly sort of, I mean, legal, right? It's always counseling and such. So there is this advisory role or people actually who we want to be empowered as token engineers and also, have the tools for them. So it's not just a software engineer doing the modeling, but actually it has a nice, graphical interface that also legal engineering can happen, because that's where the ethics parts come in.
Yeah,
So
and that's
it's just
like, I think that's the point. Like when you have this bridge, we need to make like those questions that we try to, as Nathan says, like having this information to be able to bridge those worlds is like a good outcome of this experiment, maybe. But it's tricky to do that, because if we need to get a lot of people answering this, you cannot make like a different world to get to have all this knowledge. So yeah, it's
okay. Yeah. But I would like us to go a bit further out than just cat chat, and actually, at the very least, that we know, okay, we have the political science people and so on and so forth. We have reached them wherever they are, if they're involved in a token engineering project. So we can have this, like, are you involved in token engineering, token project in any role? And we ask after the role, etc. Understood. So basically, you would say we'd rather go for small scope and get the imminent and people who will be most most intrinsically incentivized, motivated anyways to engage and get them first, and maybe the outreach in a second.
I could say so because those people have more incentives or more intrinsic motivations to fill out their form, and we can get more knowledge from those and then apply this to another survey or another workshop or make it bigger in the scope, maybe.
Yeah. From token project. Okay. Cool. Thanks a lot. So what I will do is try again, and maybe I'll try and sort a few questions in here. But this is our collection, okay? And this is our collection. I can try and sort a few in here already. If we could then asynchronously, at the very least, try to say, okay, these are the ultimate questions. Then basically maybe we have another session where a few of us, if not everyone has the time, but those who are interested to really tune the wording, and the ordering of the questions. That would be cool. Yes, one area basically concretizing what this incentive could be. If everyone can just think about if what we can concretely do and can concretize that, it would be super helpful as well. That at the end we can just say, okay, we're going to actually tech swag is the reward, basically, the extrinsic reward. That would be interesting. We do have tech swag, right? Tech t-shirts. Dan, you are muted.
No, I'm just thinking about that and smiling. Anyway, I had to go in another
Okay.
call. But yeah, I put another link. A huge community of folks that are very minded of ethics. It's a transformative tech guys. I'm twice their alum, good friends,
Cool.
great folks. Anyway, yeah, take care, you all.
So for the workshop, definitely we'll come back to you. Okay. Thank you. Okay, basically everyone for the great input. It's always needs a bit of warm up, but I think that's just perfect. Thank you.